Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We're going to explore a dynamic and data-rich feature now available on PolicyMap, Claritas PRIZM Premier data. This is a leading market segmentation system that helps us to better understand the people we serve, not just in terms of demographics, but their lifestyles, consumer habits, and community needs. Feel free to submit your questions during the session, and I'll answer as many as possible during the Q&A. My name is Betsy Minnick, and I hope I can answer a lot of the questions about this exciting new data set and show you around the tool and platform so that you can understand how you can access it. Claritas PRIZM Premier is a nationally respected segmentation system created by the marketing research firm Claritas. It classifies every U.S. household into one of 68 distinct segments based on factors such as demographics, including age, income, education, household size, and then consumer behaviors like spending patterns, media preferences, and lifestyle choices, activities, values, technology use. This segmentation is used widely in marketing, retail, and business planning, but it has a growing value in the public sector, especially for libraries that want to understand their communities on a deeper level. Okay, let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen and open up the PolicyMap application. And while we do that, I can talk to you a little bit about why this is relevant to libraries. And mainly, a tool like PolicyMap is a platform that's going to allow you to understand your community better. It allows you to take data from about 170 different federal, public, private, proprietary resources and aggregates them all into one platform. This large geospatial database has over 75,000 different data indicators. And I'll try and review that mostly with you, but you can find the Claritas data on the upper right-hand side of your map under the curated collections. This market segmentation data from Claritas is data that has been automatically added at no additional charge to our public library as well as our academic accounts. And we'll talk a little bit about how to navigate through it and see what's there. But as a user, you probably would want to go ahead and take a look at the predominant segments of the data. And this is going to allow you to see the top 10 segments by share of households within each geography. The data for the predominant segment is color-coded by color, and you can go to any specific location. I'm going to go to Philadelphia, which is the PolicyMap headquarters, as well as the recent site of the American Library Association meeting, where I had the pleasure of meeting and talking with a lot of librarians during the past week or so. If we're taking a look at the city of Philadelphia, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the city, you can see that the geography is color-coded. We can actually clip that out so you can see it a little bit better. And it's going to give you the top 10. And then the predominant segment, which would be segment 45, the urban modern mix. If I'd wanted to have more information about what that particular segment is and how it's defined by Claritas, I can link directly out to Claritas. But I can see that about 26.85% of the households are classified under this urban modern mix. If I link out here, I can see all of the specific snapshot of this particular segment and the definition. So it's middle-class singles and couples residing in ethnically diverse neighborhoods in or near the city center. fans of basketball, soccer, attend R&B and rap concerts, and listen to urban oldies. And we can see a little bit of information about the urbanicity, the income producing assets, household technology usage, age range, presence of kids, homeownership, education level, and then other lifestyle media traits. So some very nuanced data about the type of car a person who lives in Philadelphia might drive, or where they eat, where they might shop. If I'd want it to sort of dig into a specific segment, I can do that as well. You'll see that the other top 10 segments include multi-culti mosaic, connected bohemians, the cosmopolitans, and I can click through that. But I can also get more information by going back into the menu and going into that specific segment that I'm interested in. So if I'd wanted to go ahead and take a look at a specific one of those segments, I can easily do that. So I can scroll down and find the exact one that I'm looking for. I can also use my data search bar to take a look at specific ones that I'm looking for. So maybe I do want to take a look at the Connected Bohemians. Oops, I need to spell it correctly. Oops, I'm batting 1,000 today. Here we go. And you'll note we can see, right here in Center City, there's a larger concentration of those segments or percent of households within segment 31, connected bohemians. From here, I can take a look at this and I can change the geography that I'm viewing it at. And you'll note that all of these specific segments are actually going to be available at different geographies. So block group, census tract, zip code, city, county, and I can really zero in to take a look and see that specifically. I can also play with these ranges and see, those areas in and around the city that have a larger percentage of connected bohemians. And what I can also do is I can put my libraries on the map. Let's go ahead and filter out the libraries so we can see them a little bit better. We can color code them, see where the central library is, the branches, bookmobiles, and we can even view the labels for the libraries. I can really, go all the way down to the block group like we talked about before. So this area right here next to the free library is almost 95% connected bohemians. And from here, I can go in, and if I want more information, I can take a look and see exactly what the demographic traits are. The urbanicity is urban, income mid-scale, income producing assets are moderate, household technology is at the highest level. Really giving me a lot of detailed information about the personas within this particular segment. Also within here, we can take a look at other segments. So predominant social groups, predominant life stage groups, and all the social groups. You could see urban, suburban, second city, town and rural, younger years, family life, and mature years, as well as urbanicity and predominant income class. So each of these segments tell a story. You can figure out whether or not there are tech-savvy single professionals within an area, whether or not there are retirees in rural communities, whether or not there are a large number of working class suburban families. But for libraries, I think the most important thing is to understand, exactly what's happening and how it can apply to, or what the applications are for your specific library. So by taking a look at this, you realize that this PRIZM data doesn't exist in isolation on PolicyMap. You can layer it with other data sets. So I can go ahead and I can put things like library branch locations like we're looking at right now. Or a library could upload securely via our data loader their cardholder data or usage data. There's a link to the data loader right here where you can actually overlay this and sort of understand where the people or the cardholders within your community are sitting. So that's extremely helpful, and it will allow you to understand, where they are in relation to other assets within the community. Things like grocery stores, schools, parks, and other point level data. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at this data for our connected Bohemians, and let's layer the data. In the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to click on multi-layer. I'm going to use this slider to find those areas where there's a larger number of connected Bohemians. And maybe I'd like to understand something like where there are a larger number of vacancies within the area. PolicyMap is a tool that can be used internally by library staff, but also by library cardholders if the library has purchased access to our patron tool. I can go in, and under housing, we have data on vacancies. This vacancy data comes from Velasas lists. I can take a look at all properties, but I can also take a look at just maybe business properties. Again, just like when we clicked on the eye with any of these segments within the Claritas collection, we can click on the eye and sort of understand where the data comes from, when it was last updated, and all of the different metadata behind the scenes. So here I can go ahead and find those areas where there's a larger number of business vacancies within this area. I might even want to go a step further and understand something like income and spending. I can take a look at something like consumer spending habits or medical spending estimates. When we take a look at these consumer spending habits, you'll see that there's a little P here. That P means that it's exclusive PolicyMap data. Maybe I am an entrepreneur and I want to take a look at how much people are spending on food away from home for a cafe or coffee house, and I can sort of pinpoint those areas with a higher spend. And when I click on any one of those geographies right now, we're combining block groups and census tracts. Maybe we should make them all the same. Let's take a look at all census tracts together. And we can find those census tracts where there's a higher number of vacancies with a higher number of connected Bohemians and with a higher spend on food away from home. And if you recall, within here, we have our large number of households where we have people who are going to college sports events, skiing, eating out at coffee houses and bakeries. So I might be able to come up with a plan for where I'm going to put my coffee house when I go to look for that in the city of Philadelphia. So those are some of the really, really interesting ways that you can buy that data. You can create maps of up to 5 layers, and you can even and or that data together. And as we mentioned before, we can go in and we can upload data points. So if your library has access to a business directory, you can upload that data in a CSV file and view it right here. Let's talk a little bit about some other business use cases that might be worthwhile for your library and may be helpful for anyone who is interested in using PolicyMap as a tool. So if we talk about something like, an other use case that is that might be helpful besides entrepreneurs, we could also think about whether or not, let me see, I apologize, my notes are stuck. Having one of those days. We could talk about the library using this for collection development or for understanding specific assets within a community and combining them with that Claritas data. Okay, so let's go back to our single layer and let's start with a blank map again. If we go in here to our Claritas data, we'll notice that we can go ahead and take a look at predominant social groups. And within this social group, we can understand exactly what we're looking at. Maybe you want it to go ahead and go to Delaware County, Pennsylvania. Here in the outlying suburbs, we can find those areas that are considered the predominant social group might be the landed gentry or the elite suburbs. We can also go ahead and take a look at rustic living. When I click on this to see more, I can see that, about 74% of the households in this predominant social group are considered rustic living. And that includes, when we click on this, it's going to allow me to see exactly what they mean by the rustic living. So we can go ahead, pull that up, find those areas, and we can see that this specific social group is based on urbanicity and affluence, two of the variables that are created by PRIZM Premier. And within this, these following segments are here. So data about Bedrock America, Crosstown Villagers, backcountry folks, Golden Ponds, small town collegiates, and on, with the definitions of each one within here. So you can sort of understand exactly what you're looking at, exactly what you're thinking about, and understand exactly what's there. This is the sort of data that can really allow you with outreach efforts. So you can think about, specific factors that influence why people are using the library, or what might draw them to the library. You might find that you have a pocket of people within your library service area. So if we take a look at the Rachel Cole Library right here, who are of a specific age. So we can take a look at specific age groups. Maybe I'm looking at, people who are working 18, 34, or 25 to 34. And maybe we're not reaching these people. We can sort of understand who's there, where these people are living and working, and we can, again, go in and layer that with particular social groups. So as I go in here and I sort of pinpoint these specific areas within my library service area, I can understand this one area down here to the southeast, where we have 25% of the population is 25 to 34 years old. And I can go in and sort of understand exactly what's going on as far as the predominant social group within this area. So we can take a look at the predominant segment right here. And be patient. Here we go. It's going to take a while for that to load. While that's loading, I'll take a look and see. And we see that this is the up and comers. And we can sort of understand a little bit more about that group. And if a library understands that they're not hitting people within a specific area, they can maybe think about things like these are people who are have a busy work week. They might be more open to programs on different times of day, or shorter programs that happen where they can stop by and see things. So it's a really, really great way for libraries to sort of understand, exactly who is in a specific area all the way down to that block group level. Some of the other data that can be looked at in adjunct with all of these segment groups is some of the data that we've been looking at PolicyMap all along. So again, by creating a multi-layer map, we can go in and take a look at a specific group. Maybe I'm looking at midlife success, and it shows me exactly which segments are within here. So the young digerati, the upward bound, the cosmopolitans. I hope you're all enjoying the names that have been created by our friends at Claritas. But here we can find where there's a larger number of people within this specific life stage group. And pull that out, at least 20%. And we can understand other household characteristics. So we can understand data about income or spending or affordability, or we can understand about home values. We can go in here and layer this with median family income. We can also take a look at something like population density and understand what's there. This can be incredibly powerful if you wanted to think about things like um, adjusting your programs to better serve your core audience, and also so that the library can position yourself as a vital part of the small business ecosystem. So here we can find this area with a higher median family income and a larger number of people in a specific life stage group. Realize you can always take a look at specific boundaries in and around your community, and you can always change the specific boundaries that you're looking at as well. So within the boundary menu, you can go in there and take a look at that. I'd really like to sort of talk about some of the ways that libraries can, take advantage of this and really, use it for their benefit. And let's just talk about some of the use cases. I'm going to talk about some of them that we've already talked about, how libraries can use PolicyMap and this new PRIZM data to support your businesses within the community. But it's also a great resource for strategic planning, where your library can combine PRIZM data with data related to income, education, proximity to high quality schools, broadband access, so that you can align your services with actual community needs. It's a great way to plan your collection, allocate your resources, thinking about things like where there are a larger number of people who might need large print or materials in a Braille collection, or hotspots, or access to Chromebooks, or libraries of things. And by focusing on specific segments and switching your views from percents to household counts, it gives you the actual data to make data-driven decisions. You can search by specific lifestyle and media traits, data on who might attend soccer games, who is interested in NASCAR, really specific lifestyle traits for within your community, even understanding data about listening habits. So if you'd wanted to shift more usage to some of your online media, resources like Libby or Hoopla, you can understand the listening habits of specific people within specific segments. And it also, allows for those broader groupings. So in addition to those 64 different um, market segments that we initially talked about, you can take a look at specific social groups with examples like urban uptown or the microcity mix, or those specific life stage groups, midlife success, young achievers, striving singles, and also the urbanicity of your service area. Combining this with the point level data is really helpful. So you can see where your libraries sit in relation to specific communities and how different branches might need to have different collections or programs that reflect the communities that they're serving. It also is a great way to understand who your partners are within the community. I am definitely sure that you're acutely aware of who your partners are, but it's helpful to have that on a map so you can visualize the proximity of schools and parks and nonprofits within an area, and also understand where there might be vacancies or where there might be specific languages that are spoken in their home, or different household types or income levels in and around your service area. So I think that this data presents the opportunity to ask smarter questions. So you can figure out by using this segmentation data, are there higher need or underserved PRIZM segments near your library branches? Are there gaps in service that a bookmobile or pop-up branch could fill? Which neighborhoods speak different primary languages or have many families with children? And where should you focus your outreach, programming, and marketing efforts? So this really gives you the whole 360 view of your community and seeing the really full picture, not only with the demographic data from the ACS and census data, but these lifestyle segments really pull it all together on a single map. And being able to see this at the really um, granular level is great, but also being able to see this and make comparisons to maybe some of your peer institutions in and around of the country might be really helpful as well. So if you can understand, who might have similar um, market segmentations or predominant market segmentations in and around the country, you can understand who you might be able to have a conversation with about how your library is working and what you're doing. So looking at this at the county level might be helpful, where we can sort of, see the major differences in and around the United States, where the Big Sky families sit versus the country squires or the country casuals or the backcountry folks. And when you click on any one of those, it does bring you directly to, again, that Claritas menus. And within here, you can view, other top country or counties with these same demographic traits and lifestyle and media traits. So it's incredibly helpful to be able to pull that out and understand what's there. I'm waiting for everything to load. This is so interesting though, to take a look at this when we see, this rustic living group and very interested in pro bull riding, has not stayed in a hotel, listens to classic country, but we can see the top counties within the country with those same traits. So it's extremely helpful to be able to see that and to think about that. Let me go back here. I really wanted to see now if you have any specific questions, and I'd love to open up this webinar to all of you to see any questions that you might have. Let's see. Okay, we have a question here. How does PolicyMap differ from Esri data? When you take a look at PolicyMap, and I invite anyone who does not have access to PolicyMap to get in touch with us to schedule a demo or to set up a trial account. PolicyMap is extremely easy to use. So all the data sits there in one library. You don't need to go out and upload or clean, curate, and standardize the data. We put it all here um, into our library. And it's very easy for a novice searcher. You don't need to be a sophisticated geographer, or you don't need to take a class to understand how to put the data on the map. So I think the main point would be that it's powerful but simple to use, and the data is here within the tool. And it's very easy to upload your own point level data into the tool as well. So there is a question. Next question is there a way to search keywords across all the personas? And in fact, there is. You might have noticed that you can go into this data search bar at the top of your map, and you can take a look at search for specific data points. And the great point is that you can search for things like where there might be people or groups that are interested in soccer. And we pull up the Second City startups or the white picket fences or Upward Bound. We can do that with other lifestyle traits or hobbies. Things like NASCAR where we can pull that up and understand that. We can easily pull up all of the segments that have Subaru in there, if I spell it properly. And that's a good speller today, but here we can see our executive suites and kid country or up and comers. So yes, you can go in and use this data search bar to search keywords across all these personas. So it's really, really helpful. You can pull that out and easily find that within the menu. Okay, I feel like there was another question up here that I'm not seeing. Maybe not. Okay. I think I might have hit many of your questions. I really, really encourage you to get in touch with us if you have any questions. We also have some handouts here that you're welcome to download and take a look at. And within our help menu, we have lots and lots of good guides to help you to understand exactly how to use PolicyMap and all the features of PolicyMap, including creating custom regions or setting up community profile reports, understanding how to load your data or to download data for use in other tools. And we have a nice video gallery, and we have just added a nice overview, about a 5-minute overview that you could share with your colleagues or peers about giving you an overview of how to take a look at the data on the map and how you can combine it with other data sets. In addition, I can drop into, or I can always send anybody who needs it a link to all of the data that's available and all the data sets. And I think that would be really helpful for you to be able to take a look at the breadth and the depth of the data and how far back it goes and how granular it is. But as I mentioned before, the data comes from about 170 different sources. Some of it is all the way down to the block group level. And as far as the time period that it goes back, much of the data goes back to as far back as the year 2000. So thank you so much for attending today. I am happy to answer any questions that you have, and I will get back to you with some more use cases. We'll be putting those into our blog and giving you more information about that. If you'd like to access the PolicyMap blog, you can access it from our main page under the resources. And we even have some great customer stories that feature public libraries and how they're using PolicyMap on a regular basis. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed talking a little bit about this new data that we're really excited about. And I hope that you get in touch and let me know if you have any questions or if you need any more information. Thanks so much and have a great day.